I'm Greg Baldwin, and this is Around Flagtown. We are here at Dark Sky Brewery at 117 North Beaver Street in the heart of downtown Flagstaff, Arizona. Standing next to me is the owner, Ryan Sandlin. How you doing today, Ryan?
Doing great.
Awesome. Well, hey, we got an awesome tour for you today. Let's go take a look. So Ryan, one of the first things you notice when you walk in here are these giant oak barrels. Tell me about these.
Yeah, so we picked these up from several different barrel brokers around the country. They source them from distilleries and other companies. This one is especially cool. So this company, Bliss, they're out of Michigan. What they do is they actually age maple syrup in bourbon barrels. Then they get shipped to us. So this barrel here specifically has a ton of flavor in it. We're most excited about these guys right here.
That's awesome. So the flavor actually of that mixes with the beer.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so as it sits here, the beer will go in and out of the wood and kind of pull a lot of those flavors out. Obviously, the maple syrup was in there for a while, the bourbon before that. Yeah, these are really intense. They take the flavor on really quick, whereas like the regular bourbon barrels take a little bit longer. But these ones are quite intense.
So how do you decide what type of beer is going to go into a bourbon barrel versus a maple syrup barrel?
Typically we run two different beers, either a big imperial stout or a barley wine, which we actually brewed yesterday. Both of them are, obviously high ABV. They can withstand age time. I mean, really, it's just kind of what we're feeling at the moment. We'd like to have a little bit of variety. So like this whole stack of 8 here, I think we've got 4 stouts, 4 barley wines in there.
All right, Ryan, the next thing I notice is this big, giant refrigerator. It looks like you have some beers to go. Tell us about that.
We do, yeah. So this is a part of our canning operation that we have going now. We're canning anywhere from once a week to once every other week. All these beers are also on tap. So it gives our customers a good option. You can have a pint here, and then if you enjoy it, you can grab a 4-pack to take home. You can grab singles as well. Try and keep the options as open as possible for these guys.
One of the things that really stands out to me is the artwork on the cans. Who does that for you?
Yeah, so my wife does most of them, and then we actually have some of our employees help out with that as well. Our marketing guy, Miguel, did the Westie logo. Laramie did both of these. We've got some other ones that some ex-employees helped out with as well.
Yeah, I really love the artwork. I love the continuity, the flow of the colors. It really makes me want to drink beer.
Yeah.
So I noticed you have some merchandise for sale here. Tell us a little bit about how you got into that.
It's funny, like you open a brewery and then it turns into a t-shirt company kind of situation. We sell quite a bit of merch. I mean, people love supporting it and kind of showing people where they've been and stuff like that. So yeah, it's that was the most shocking part, was how much merchandise we go through here.
Ryan, how did you first get started brewing beer?
Well, my wife and I, we own a construction company, and we had a warehouse that housed all of our extra materials and tools and stuff. I started homebrewing out of there, and it was kind of a weird, almost like a commercial setup, but with like homebrewing gear. So we decided to give it a go, and we found this place, which is the old Canyon Office Supply.
Was there a particular beer that jump-started your career?
You've mentioned it before, but it's the Jalapeno Pale Ale. That's kind of what really got us going. Not many people have had anything like that before.
Most breweries have 5 to 8 beers that are their flagship beers. You brew so many different types of beer. How did you decide to go that route?
Always changing is fun, getting to try something new. When we travel and go to different places, I always enjoy looking at their tap list and trying every single thing. And my tastes change, I think that's pretty normal for most chefs and stuff. It's just kind of how we feel, going into the week. The weather sometimes can dictate that too.
The beer industry has changed over the years. Everything is going so heavy IPA. What are some IPAs you have going right now?
Anything like West Coast style, so like hoppy, bitter, those typically sell extremely well. The hazy IPA is the newest craze. That's not going away. Those typically kill it for us.
How long have you been in business?
It'll be 6 years in May. So May 1st and 2nd, we're gonna be celebrating our anniversary this year.
2020, COVID hits. Tell us how you had to change your business model.
Yeah, it's interesting looking back on all the memories of like last year and how scared all of us were. They forced us to close and we had no help. We had no answers from anybody. We had to let almost all of our staff go. We had a couple people come back and volunteer to help. And obviously we're a pretty small taproom focused brewery, so we weren't set up for this to-go model at all. Yeah, it was a real fast pivot that we had to make and some big choices that took a lot of courage.
I used to walk up to the bar and order a beer there. Now it looks like you have a host or hostess, they seat you at the table, and they explain the beers to you right there.
When we were allowed to open back up, the first thing we thought of was that scenario right there. Somebody coming in, clogging up the lane here, crowds of people. Like, we didn't want that look, and we didn't want that function in here anymore. The experience for the customer is far better than it has ever been before. They get service front to back, explained every single beer. It was a weird choice to make, but one we had to.
Tell me about the decision to bring in pizzicletta. Obviously, beer and pizza, pretty good combination.
We learned real quick we aren't really good at the restaurant thing at all. We decided to focus our efforts on beer and hospitality in here. And I was just on a bike ride with Brian, who's one of our managers now, who used to work for Pizzicletta. And he's like, Caleb has an extra oven. He's like, you should just send him a text and see what he says. And 3 months later, we had the oven landed and away we were.
There are a lot more options now adding food to go with the beer.
Yeah, it rounds out our service front to back, and we couldn't be happier right now, honestly.
One of the things I have always liked about Dark Sky Brewery is the ambiance and just the interior feel. Tell me a little bit about the interior design concept.
Laramie, my wife, and I, we love to travel, and when we go to a tap room, we love that kind of experience. You know, it's like a level above anybody else, and like you kind of get. It's not just about the beer at that point. You know what I mean? So yeah, she had this really cool idea to like kind of make it more of like a coffee shop vibe. You know, a little lower lights. I think it's relaxing to come in here, and like I said, you know, the beer can speak for itself, but like it's the entire experience.
You've been doing this for a while now. Do you have an estimate of how many beers you have brewed over the years?
Our Untapped says we're at like 667, I think. Yeah, so the goal was 100 per year, and then we just blew that out of the water. Like, and that was only because we just got so busy and we couldn't stop brewing. And I think repeating beers was just not something I wanted to get into.
I'm sure you try beers from other breweries. Is there one that you've had recently that you're excited about?
Yeah, actually, I have a friend of mine who owns a brewery out in New York. He sent me a box of beer, and there was a sour in there with Earl Grey tea and pomegranate that blew all of us away. Like, I haven't had a beer that did that to me in a really long time, so that was kind of cool. Really appreciating other people's work too is always a real fun thing to do. This stuff is hard. It's not easy on top of running the business, but you got to make a quality product, and when somebody does that well on all fronts, like, it's very respectable, and I enjoy like telling people.
What's next?
You know, like, the future looks really bright. I mean, you made it out of 2020. I mean, you got some serious street cred, you know? So like now it's like nothing's really going to be that difficult or seem that hard. Really looking forward to this summer. I think with, you know, vaccinations getting done and Arizona pretty much opening up for the most part, we're still going to keep our protocols in place just to keep everybody safe and orderly in here.
One of the reasons I wanted to do something like this is because we have to support local businesses. Flagstaff isn't a big town, so we have to support each other.
Yeah, it kind of brought all of us down here together in a way, you know what I mean? Like, I really wouldn't talk to Steve over at Proper that often unless he needed some beers or whatever, but like I was texting him like every other day, like, hey, what are you guys doing about this? What do you think about this? And just bouncing ideas off each other because we all had to be creative in some way.
I'm sure there are a lot of things that were implemented during the tough times that will now make you more prosperous.
Yeah, I mean, the canning operation, our efficiencies brewing, I mean, we're cranking back there, and it doesn't feel like it's that hard. It was a good test, one that I didn't want to do, but I think it brought forward a lot of problems that we were like having to fix, and we did, you know, and pretty proud of that. I think we did a pretty good job, and just, yeah, happy it's over.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time today, Ryan, showing us your awesome business here and guiding us through that process of brewing. And really, your passion for beer really comes through. Guys, if you're in downtown Flagstaff or you're just passing through, make sure you stop at 117 North Beaver Street at Dark Sky Brewery, right in the heart of downtown Flagstaff. It's an absolutely must stop for some of the best beer in the country. Cheers.